Saud Alomair. Over to Saud Alomair, DTM, sir.
Thank you very much, DTM, Madam Sunila Shanko. Thank you very much for the colleagues. It's my pleasure to be today in this session, and thank you very much for the district leader for giving me this opportunity to be part of the community and also help to share the knowledge and experience that I get mainly from my life, but also from my Toastmaster journey. So thank you very much for that. I mean, let me just, okay. It's really my pleasure whenever I'm giving an opportunity to be part of any Toastmaster activity, I really take it, without any hesitation, because this is an opportunity for me to give back to the community where I learn a lot and I develop my skills in the Toastmaster. This is what we do. The best thing about the Toastmaster, and I have been a member of the Toastmaster since 2007. So 2007 was February 2007. I started my journey in the Toastmaster, and I am still proud member of the community. And so whenever I'm giving an opportunity or invited to conduct any kind of maybe session or awareness or training workshop, I accept this and I thank him for the opportunity. So today we are going to talk about train the trainer. It's not a training, just to be fair with the profession. So it's not a training, it's not a workshop, because it's very hard to talk about training in normally. Normally the least we have done in the Toastmaster, and even aside 3 full days to do a session, sometimes 5 days and even more. But to do 1 hour and a half, I think it's more of awareness session rather than sharing knowledge, discussing. It's informal chat. So be ready to share your thoughts, participate in the discussion and in this one. And allow me just go quickly through this is my journey. And here I'm not just repeating what DTM Sunila said about. So it's not my bio, but this, as I call it, my station, my career station throughout my life. Yes, SABIC is where I work, SABIC where I spend most of my time now. And in SABIC, I learned a lot about leadership development. SABIC also gave me the opportunity to deliver leadership programs in the US, and India, and China, Netherlands, and Turkey, and many in Saudi Arabia. And just to be professional, I think normally we need to get our credibility as a professional. I think it's important that we get some kind of accreditation from international bodies. So this is one of my master trainer and also CPAP profession. And also coaching always goes with the development. So I was keen to make sure I get my accreditation and coaching from the ISAF. Proud of my DTM award that I got in 2014 after 7 years of my Toastmaster. Normally, I know people they can do it in 2-3 years. It took me 7 years. And I was not very keen to do the DTM because I would just wanted to develop my skills in communication, leadership, participate, and also work my colleagues in the Toastmaster. But 2014, I was given the privilege and the honor by DTM Saif Sheikh to be the Sataka chair. And I said, normal to be Sataka chair and go on the podium and speak in front of people and also talk with dignitaries. I think it's good that I should have a title for that. So I worked in 2014 to make sure before SATAC, I have to be a DTM, and alhamdulillah, I was able to do it. And also after this journey, Maria, I think it's better that we give something to the community. So I have 2 things that I really do as my social responsibility. One of them is Jadirun. Jadirun is an initiative to help young Saudi graduate to be employable, to be skillful, and also to find jobs. So it's a career counseling initiative. This is my personal thing. And also because I am part of the human resources community in Saudi Arabia, I was part of the Saudi Human Capital Club, and I am currently the president of the club. So these are the station, and I think it's important. The message here is that throughout, we learn a lot in the Toastmaster. And I joined the Toastmaster immediately in 2007, February. In February 2007, I graduated from Dale Carnegie Train the Trainer course. So once I graduated from that, one of my colleagues, who was part of my program called Shukri, he was part of Aramco Club, Toastmaster Club. He said, guys, we are trainers, so it means that we need to develop our skills. So the best way to do this is join the Toastmaster. So immediately, all the group, it was myself, Toastmaster Adil Jaiman, Toastmaster Abdullah Jorf. We were like 5 or 6 people graduating from the program. We immediately went to the Toastmaster meeting, and I met in that meeting my first mentor in the Toastmaster, Delphin, DTM Delphin. I really thank him for this one. And he said, he was the first person I actually took me through the clubs, and I invited me to attend many clubs. Then after that, I found myself in Desert Diamond Club in 2017 as a member, and I'm still a member of that. So the message here is that make sure that we go beyond the Toastmaster activity. Yes, we need to become part of this fraternity. We need to be part of this community, but also we need to develop our skills beyond that. I mean, we need to make our business, be trainers, be a speaker, be master of ceremony, be anything, but at least what we learn in the Toastmaster, we have to take it outside for the benefit of our community, for the benefit of our organization, and mainly for the benefit of ourselves. So this is, this is just the story of this one. Today we are going to talk about, this is a webinar. So we say a webinar, it's a kind of maybe a lecture, a seminar, whatever we call it, but it's not a workshop, it's not a training, because training means that it has to be face-to-face, or it has to be longer time. The first thing we'll talk today about is applying adults learning principle. And this is what I call Training 101. If you want to be a trainer, this is the first thing that we need to learn. We need to understand the theory of adults, how adults learn. Then we talk about facilitation, because now people moving from lecturing to training to facilitation. So what is facilitation, and what are the major elements of facilitation? What is the training? What is facilitation? Then also we go through the process of learning and how people develop certain skills. And lastly, we'll talk about the different types of participants, how will people learn, and how their learning preferences and learning style will affect their behavior in the training session. Before we start, this is our first activity. So I would like to think about how many people we have. Okay, we have around 80 in the session. So think, what motivates you? I think the reason that you are attending the session or this webinar is because you want, either you are a trainer, so you want to maybe learn more, develop your skills more, or maybe you have interest in training, so you want to understand training, or maybe you want to start your journey in training. So think about what motivates you to become a trainer. Do not respond, please do not type anything. Do not type anything. I will tell you how to do this one. And just to make sure that at least even in this 1 hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours, we need to make some kind of interaction. Please, if you are using your mobile, this is great. If you are using your laptop, this is much better, because that will make it easy for you. But we need to go to website, and let me write the website they need to go. And probably you have seen me doing this before. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the website. So please, just your mobile and go to this site, kahoot.it. I think it's a little, okay, let me just write it again, type it again, so at least you see it. Okay, Kahoot. Probably you have seen this website before. It's good, especially if when you are using some webinar. Okay, when you go to Kahoot, okay. DT Makas, I hope you are helping me with this one. So if people needs any help going through the website. So if you logged in, Kahoot, it will ask about the pin. You will see the pin. Okay. Kahoot.it and just enter the pin 9433877. Then it will ask about nickname. Just write your first name. Jay, you are the first. Mahish. Good. Quickly. Pin, Idris. Okay, Haneen Amran. Alligator. Make sure you use your name. Okay, quickly, guys. Now we only have 13 people who are able to log in. 15. Okay, Zubair. Chris. Okay, 27. Okay, Jawahir, Sam, Jamila, Ali, Manaz. Okay, we almost have 80 people in the session. Not even 50%. Quickly, you need to do this quickly, guys. Himayat. Okay, Nando, Hussein, Usman, Sajjad. And think about what motivates you to be a trainer. You cannot write a story. You cannot write an essay. Just one or two words. So you have to think about number one, a priority or motivation for you to be a trainer, because you will only have limited space to write in. Okay, Mohan, good. Okay, 1 minute, then we will start. So you have 1 minute to log in. Game pin and your name, first name, nickname, whatever name you use. Okay, so now we're going to start. Now we will start. So you will have an opportunity to write. So let's start. Why training? So the question is, as I told you, what is your main motivation? Trainer. So type your answer. And you can only write one answer. Just make sure that you put 1 or 2 words because you have limited space. Okay, so far 5 people answer. The timer you see, the purple timer you see at your left, this is the timer, how many seconds we have before that answer. And Toastmaster Fazmi, be ready to take a picture of the poster that you will see soon. So you'll see the poster with all the motivation of the people, and it looks amazing. People want to be trainers for different reasons, different motivations. So just make sure you take a photo of the screen. We still have, okay, now we have 37 people. Forty-one. I think we only have maybe 4 or 5 people left. It's only one question, by the way. Your motivation to become a trainer. Come on, guys. I think we only have 2 or 3 people left. Otherwise, we need to continue until the time finishes. Okay, 43. 45 people. So now you will see your motivation on the screen. When more people have the same motivation, you will see it in a bigger text or maybe a better box. So definitely we can see in the green box, we have many people selected the same motivation. Could be money, it could be status, could be sharing knowledge, could be starting your business. We have 49 people. Okay, 20 seconds left. Toastmaster Fazmi, just get ready and you will get the poster.
Yes.
Okay, time is up. Thank you. So now you can see your motivation. Sharing knowledge. That's the main reason many people selected enhance a skill career to be an simply trainer, probably meeting, change others, motivate, knowing. So I think we need to take a photo of this one. So the reason that, you know, we're doing this for more than one reason. One reason is that to know your motivation for the, and you could have, I mean, people have many motivation. My dream, helping people, enrich knowledge, empower others, learning together, love teaching. It will love you, fulfill our goals. So, or it could be something like for money or business or anything. But to be successful in training, and for me, this is number one reason for the success of any trainer is you need to have the passion for it. If you do not have the passion, training requires a lot of patience, working with people, time, efforts, and everything. And sometimes you need to pay from your pocket a lot of money just to train yourself and to get exposed until you become a trainer. So it requires a lot of work. Now, if you do not have the passion, it's not going to work. So thank you very much. And the other reason for doing this is a tool, use it when you're doing a training, whether it's you're doing a virtual training like this one, or even face-to-face in class. And I use this all the time for quizzes in my training. It's amazing. It's amazing. But even in a session like this, and today, inshallah, if we have time, we will do a quiz at the end using the same tool, using also Kahoot. So Kahoot.com, that's the website. Kahoot.it, this is where people log in. But this is one of the tools. There's Menti, there is Yumu, many others. I like Kahoot because it has a lot of features and it's good for that. Great, thank you very much. So let's go back to our session. Okay, so this is our agenda for today, and inshallah, we will have the time for that. You know, the meaning of training, and we say training or facilitation, is encapsulated in this Chinese proverb and say, tell me and I will forget. If the only way we train people is just share information and maybe present some information, a slide, pictures, and everything, so only from one way communication, definitely people forget. Sometimes we show them something, videos, or maybe some kind of animation or pictures or models. And so they might remember. People will only learn when they are being involved in the training. So always involve people in your training. People will always remember what they do in the training. So involvement is important. Engaging your audience is a key success to training. Let's do our first activity before we do this one. And normally we do ground rules. So whenever you have a training, I mean, this ground rule for our session today, but always in your training, make sure that you have ground rules. One of the ground rules, you want people to be present. So please, if you are joining remotely, so do not make yourself busy. This is an investment of your time. This is an investment of your effort. I am sure you will learn something and today that will help you to motivate or motivate you maybe to go maybe further and understand more. So be present physically, mentally, be present, also participate. Thank you for the 50 people who participated in the first quiz. Technology, so stay away from WhatsApp, stay away from anything during the session, but also when you do the training, make sure that you put some ground rules so people, they at least you have some kind of discipline. Recognize and respect others' people opinion. We will have different opinions. People always have different opinions, especially when you're doing a facilitation or training, facilitated training. People will have different opinions. Be on time. And we're using this ground rule for this webinar, but also in your training, always start with setting the ground rules. Have fun and enjoy the learning. Let's move to our first activity. And normally when it comes to sharing knowledge or learning, we have three professions. These three professions are very similar. First, we have the trainer or the instructor or facilitator, whatever we call them. Then we have the lecturer. Then we have the speaker / presenter. So they could be the same thing. So I'll give you 3 minutes. This is an activity. So this is an activity. Think about, choose one of these three professions, just to choose one of them. And think about what knowledge and skills do people have? Do people for this profession have? What skills and knowledge do they have? What kind of communication style they use? Do they use one-way communication or they use two-way communication? Where do we find them? What kind of environment? Where do we find, for example, lecturer? Where do they work? Where do we find the trainers? Where do we find the speakers? So what is their work environment? Then think about their audience. What type of audience they have? Do they have diversified audience? Or they have undiversified audience? The people were the same, probably the same background, the same knowledge, the same age. And also the number of audience. Do they have big audience or small audience? And finally, and this is the most, what is the outcome of the intervention? The lecturer, when they do lecture, for example, when a lecturer does his session, what is the outcome of the session? What is the outcome of the training? What's the outcome of the speaker, the keynote speaker or the presentation? Okay. If you have no questions, you have questions, just type your question. But if no questions, so please, let's start. 2 minutes, think about it, just to choose one of these three. Do not put it, just one of them, and just write something, because we need to understand the difference between this profession. So when we are in a training camp, we know what should we do. When we are lecturing, we are not training. When we are speaking, we are not training. Okay, and any questions, Toastmaster Waqas, hopefully. And please, you are going to type. So do not raise your hand for this, just because it takes time, because the panelists or the co-hosts need to have maybe unmute you, and sometimes it takes time. So please just be ready. Just be ready, and you are going to just type. Aditi Marqas, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I haven't received any questions.
You are going to help me with the chat box.
Okay, sure.
Fatma, you may speak now.
So 2 minutes, we give people 2 minutes just to think about one of these professions. Okay. And please be ready just to type your thoughts. Okay, let's start. So start first with the lecturer. Let's start with the lecturer. So please type your thoughts. What skills, knowledge do they have? What communication style do they have? What environment, audience they have? So please, you can participate.
Hello, am I audible?
You
Yes,
are audible. Yes.
Okay. Actually, I'm the mother of Ufuk Fatma, and I'm
Welcome.
a housewife. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm a housewife. I just want to know how much this is profitable for me being a housewife. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll come to the questions later on, but let's first do this one.
Okay.
So lecturer, some people, Hisham said it's one-way communication. Salma said updated their knowledge, so they have to be knowledgeable all the time. Okay, what else? Tell us more about the. Yes. So please just use the chat box. Use the chat box. Just write about lecturer. We are talking first about lecturer. So we know it's a one-way communication. So normally the lecturer will just speak or present information and the audience will listen. Okay, teacher create professionals. Yes, so they are professional. They use, do they use coaching style? Coaching styles mean two-way communication. Okay, they need to have some leadership skills. They need to manage the class. It's a one-way communication. Yes, Muhammad Sajjad. Imparts knowledge. Yes, it's a one-way communication. Lecturer has strong subject knowledge. Yes, so they are expert in their field. Where do we find lecturers, by the way? What is their work environment? Illicit deep thinking, yes. Yes, academia, colleges, university. So they are in academia. So we're talking about first, they should have deep knowledge. And they are the expert in their field. They use one-way communication. So they use one-way communication. We find them in schools. We find them in the university. So we find mainly in education and academia. That's where we find them. Good. How about their audience? Do they have big audience, small audience? When I say big audience, maybe more than 50 or maybe more than 100. We talk about small audience, maybe up to 30, 40. Medium, small audience, yes, small audience. So normally they have small audience, maybe 40, 50, maybe 60. Yes. Yes. How about their audience? Is it a diversified group? Their audience? Yes, they are homogeneous. Mainly they are homogeneous because they have the same background. Same background. If we're talking about students at college or university or something, so they are not diversified because they are more homogeneous because They are in the same age. They have the same knowledge and background, They might have different mindset, but still they are in the same age. They might maybe 1 or 2, 3 year difference, but mainly they are the same age. They have the same background. The session has to be informal, of course, because it will be linked to a quiz or exam, and people will get some kind of accreditation as part of it. And normally it's a medium group. It's not a very big group. And of course, they use one-way communication. They might allow for question, but still one-way communication. Let's go to the speaker presenter. What knowledge and skill do they have? Lecturers, Manaz, if we're talking about, you said it might be two-way communication. If you're talking about, okay, they allow students to ask questions, it's still one-way communication because people may not ask. Okay, so we're talking about speakers. They are expert in certain things, yes, in certain fields. They have presentation skills. It's a one-way communication, yes. To keep people engaged. They are inspirational, motivational. Okay, good. How about audience? Diversify the group or not? About the audience? Diversified, yes, definitely. Like any speech we do, like any presentation or keynote speech, yes, you have diversified. You might have people in the 20s and people maybe in the 50s, 60s. They have different also background in this one. So, and it is one-way communication. Large size, yes, large size. So they speak to a larger group. In this case, they have, how about the communication? One way, two way. We said, I think one-way communication because they cannot allow two-way communication with a larger group. Yes, when we talk about just answer a question, this is still one-way communication. And then it's communication. Okay, good. Let's go to the lecturer. What is the main outcome of the intervention? When people attend the lecture, what do they get away with? What is the outcome? Yes, of course. Knowledge, exactly. They gain knowledge, exactly. They gain knowledge, and knowledge has to be structured because it will be linked to a question, to exam, or a quiz. So it is knowledge. How about the speaker? The speaker intervention or session. What do people get? People might get motivated. They might have messages. So because the speaker has a message for this one, they might get some kind of awareness at a certain topic. Yes. So you're talking about motivation, clarify some concept, awareness around the topic. Yes, this is what people get from this one. Now let's go to the trainer, which is our main topic for today. Okay. So people might remember, yes, they will attend. Let's go to the trainer or instructor. What knowledge and skill do they have? Yes, it's a two-way communication first. If it's one-way communication, it's not a training, it's a lecture. So if the trainer is only presenting and people are only listening, we cannot say this is a training. We say this is a lecture. This is a presentation. It's not. So it has to be two-way communication. And this is the only one that has very high communication skills. Okay. Two-way communications, people need to have certain knowledge in certain topic. About their audience? Small, big, medium? Small, yes. So training session is small. If you are conducting a session to 100 people, like this one, we cannot say this is a training because training, it has to be two-way, it has to be interactive. But this is kind of awareness. This is kind of seminar, webinar, whatever we call them. Okay. What is the main outcome of the training intervention? Thank you very much, Azhar. Yes, skill. If people do not get skill in the training, it means it was not a training. It was not. And in order for people to have a skill, what do they need to do? What do they need to do in order to get skills? Sure, practice. Thank you, Hisham. Practice. They need to practice. They need to practice in the class. So when they go back to their work, they also learn and they also can do the task. So they have to practice in order to get the skills. Okay, so as we can see that the main, if we talk about training, is a two-way communication. Training is for small groups. When we say small groups, maybe up to maybe 30, 35. That's the maximum, 30. And I see even business schools, they go the maximum 30. So they do this one. It has to be interactive with people. People have different background, different age. So it is a diversified group. That's definitely. And people need to go out with certain skills. Thank you very much. So now at least we know what's the difference between speakers. So when we are presenting something, presentation is not. Presenting a slide, we cannot say training. Maybe we can say that we are doing some kind of awareness around the topic, but this is not a training. Yeah, reasoning, demonstration, coaching, feedback. This is how people learn. Great, thank you very much. Now let's go to Training 101. And this is the most important part for people to go into learning, is that you need to know training. This is a theory that created by Malcolm Knowles, 1968. And he, during his survey and his theory, he said that, okay, we have children and we have adults. And they learn differently. You cannot train or educate adults like children. Children, for many reasons, of course, they consider the trainer or the teacher, let's say the teacher or lecturer, as the only and the main source of information and knowledge. Training, no. When you try training, you will also have people with certain experience in the topic. The children, of course, they want to listen all the time because they want to hear, they want to consider the training as the main source, and also they need to get some certain of accreditation of first one. Let's go through and these are the 7 principles. Sometimes you see them 6, 8, but these are the 7. First one, adults, they are goal-oriented. When they go to the training, they have certain things they want to learn. Children, they go to the teacher or go to school or education, then it will be up to the teacher to decide what they are going to learn. But adults, they choose, for example, this training because they have certain goals they want to achieve. So they have certain goals. So that's why we call them goal-oriented. They want to learn something because it's important for their career, for their life. Practical. Whatever they learn in the training session, they want to be able to practice it once they go back to their work or to their life. So they need something practical. That's why we say it has demonstration, practice, and they need to learn certain skills. Also, they are relevancy oriented. It means that whatever they are going to learn, it has to be relevant to their life or their work. You cannot train them on something that's not relevant to their work. That's why when we do training, and I do a lot of corporate training, this is most of the time what I do, I have to understand about their work environment. I have to understand what exactly they want to learn. I have to understand what is their background. I cannot, for example, train people in the manufacturing and use some examples from the banking industry. They will say, no, we're different. We are different industry. So if I'm training people in the manufacturing, it means that all the examples, all the scenarios, all the activities had to be related to their work. If I'm going to use, for example, train people in the banking sector or the financial, I have to use examples related to their work, to their business, to their industry. So that's why they say they are relevancy oriented. It has to be relevant to their life, to their work. They are also realistic. They want to focus on what exactly they want to learn and how the training will help them to solve their problems. Knowledge and experience important. Adults, when they come to the training, they have knowledge and they have experience in many fields. They do not consider the trainer or the facilitator or the instructor as the main source of knowledge. No. We will find this maybe in the academic. But in the training, Also, the people who attend, they have knowledge and experience, and they want also the trainer or the facilitator also to link, to give them opportunity to talk about their experience and their knowledge, to share their knowledge, to share their experience. So they come to the training with years of knowledge and experience. They want also the environment to be informal and friendly. That's why, of course, when you're teaching adults, it has to be formal. You know, they need to start at a certain time, stop at a certain time. But in training, normally, people, they want to have informal. They want the environment to be friendly. They want to share. They want to talk. They want the trainer to be flexible in the time, for example, in giving them breaks and giving them opportunity. That's why when you go for ground rules in the beginning, we also discuss the people. What do you want us to do in order to have a successful training? And the last one is that they are autonomous. They are self-directed. They take responsibility for their learning and training. They will choose what they need to do. If we compare this to the children, though, children, you know, they are directed by the lecturer or by the teacher or what, or the professor. But adults, they need guidance, but also they need a space so they can work with that. Or they might say, no, we do not do this. We'll do this one because this is more important to us. Instead of talking about this topic, we want to talk about this topic because it's important. So they need to be involved in the process of learning. Always discuss with them, ask them, give them opportunity to explain. So this is a training 101. I highly recommend that you go to the YouTube, or not YouTube, you go to Google and put adults learning principle theory or Malcolm Knowles theory, whatever, and read. You'll find books, you'll find articles in it. Understand more about this one, because this is one of the reasons people fail in training is that they do not differentiate between teaching and training. They do not understand how adults learn as opposed to children or students. Okay, good. So now we'll go to the skills. This is, and I apologize. This is so the question that what competencies or skill do we need in order to be skillful trainer? This is one of the models that was built by Hdbi Trainers Forum. It's myself and some of the colleagues. Abdullah Sharif is one of the group. Myself and Suleiman Al-Tahoni. This is from the Toastmaster community because we also have like a forum for trainers, professional trainers, and we develop from our experience, we develop this model. I will get it to you in English, I promise. So we see three main areas. In order for someone to be a professional trainer, you need certain skills, you need certain knowledge, and also you need certain attitudes. And we developed this model with 12 competencies for professional trainer. I will try to give you in English, so don't worry about this one. Now we'll talk about some of the characteristics for people to be effective facilitator. I will go through them quickly, can share with you later on this one. And by the way, when we talk about facilitation, we'll come to the definition. What is the difference between training and facilitation? Instruction, are they the similar? Facilitation is a skill for trainers or instructors. So as a trainer, you need to have facilitation skills. One of the main top characteristics is interaction. Because we said training is two-way communication, so you need to have interactive session, allow people to share their thoughts, their ideas. You need to create safe environment. Safe environment. And if you remember, in one safe environment, it means people have, because people will share their thoughts, people will participate, people will interact. So they need to make sure that they have safe environment. As a trainer, your responsibility to create that safe environment. If you remember one of ground rules, what was one of the ground rules about creating safe environment? Let's see who is a good or excellent listener. I mentioned one of the ground rules that will help to make sure we have safe environment in the training. Okay, devices. I mean, that's okay. But there was one very direct: respect other people's thoughts. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think it's Albandari. Yes, yes. Respect other people's point of view. So in this case, we are creating a safe environment for the people to learn. So you cannot criticize someone. You cannot offend someone because they have different opinion. So this is one of the that we need to put in the ground rules. Respect people's opinion. Yes, thank you very much. Also, facilitators or good trainers, they are great listeners. Great listeners. They listen to the people. They develop the lesson. That's one. And they should provide the structure for the discussion. So what is one thing that's what we did today to make sure we have a structure for the discussion, for the session? What was something that I did at the beginning? So people know the structure of the discussion. Okay, let's see who is an excellent listener. And remember what we did at the beginning to provide, thank you very much, the agenda. Yes, Albandar, yes. The agenda. Agenda is very important so people know what are we going to learn. And we need to have some learning objectives. Yes, so the agenda is very important to show the people what we are going to learn today. Support the well-being of each participants. Okay, we'll talk about this one. Acknowledge the participant, provide feedback. Feedback, excellent, this is good. Mention their names. So probably you have noticed from the beginning today, I try when people respond in the chat box, I mention their name. So this is a kind of acknowledgement to the people. And use questions, powerful questions to generate people thoughts, participation, engagement. Ask questions. Okay. Taps into the wisdom of each person. Speakers cannot do this. Lecturer cannot do this because normally they have big audience. It's a one-way communication, but as a trainer, because you should be working with everybody, you should understand everybody. Everybody should be part and they have to participate. And you also have to be responsive rather than reactive. You need to anticipate what the people are looking for, why they come to the training. Ask them. So again, what is something that we did today to be responsive rather than reactive? Okay, let's see. What's something we did today? Okay, anyone? Can you remember what's something we did today? What a question we asked today to know more about the people. So I know more about the audience. Taking a question in a positive way is good. Interaction. Thank you. Yes, alligator. The purpose of training, the Kahoot, the question that I ask. So I understand more about your motivation. Yes. Okay, Albandri also mentioned this. Motivation, Idris, why you want to be a trainer, and also Muhammad Jalal. Thank you very much. Great. Always be flexible in every training. I have been doing training maybe since 2007. And every year, maybe around, I don't know, maybe 15, 20, 30, maybe programs globally. And in every program, I had to change something to accommodate either the space, either the time, either the people demand. So always be willing to this one. Connect with the group, talk to them, ask about what exactly they need from the training. Plans effectively. Make sure that you plan your session effectively based on the time, based on the demands and the needs of the people. Be authentic. Be authentic. That's a good thing about training is that when you engage with people, and also have been be passionate. Trainer, successful trainer, facilitator are passionate. They do not do it for the money, but they do it because they want to do it. Of course, you end up with the process getting a lot of money from the training, which is a very good actually profession when you become a professional trainer. But make sure that you have the passion. You want to do it something that goes beyond the money. Okay. So now we have two lists. We have two lists, and we will not go through the list, but I want to just take maybe a screenshot of this and see some of the behaviors that shows effective or good or successful trainers. And some of the behaviors we see at the right side, and these are the normal. I try to avoid being polite, not say bad trainers, but so I say normal trainer. But what I mean actually, bad trainers. Bad trainers. So you can see these are the behaviors of good trainers and bad trainers. One of them, for example, good trainers, they use different learning style or training styles. They use activity, they use discussion, they use group discussion, they use role plays, they use videos, they use anything. While these people, the normal, they just lecture. They have slides and they lecture all the time. So use only one style. And they say in training, if you are going to train, in a training, do not lecture more than 15 minutes. Because the people attention span is very short and it's getting shorter. And even 15 minutes, I think now they say 10 minutes. That's why there is a very good book by Sharon Bowman. It says 10-minute trainers. What she means that as a trainer, you have to do something every 10 minutes to keep people engaged, to keep people alive, because their attention span. So these are the behaviors. I will leave it for you. You can go there, and maybe we can discuss them, but just take a snapshot of this, a screenshot of this. And if you have any questions, we talk about them. The question now, okay, so I know what does it take or to be a successful trainer. I need to understand the training 101, the adult training principles. I need to understand the characteristics or the skills or the competency of good training. Now, how do I plan my training session? Whether it's 1 hour or maybe 5 days. Because even if you have 5 days, you have to plan your session in small modules. Each module is like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. After that, it's one topic. Then people take a break. Then you move to the second module. So what do you see in the picture? What do you see? Thank you, Raya. We have ropes. Yes, 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 ropes. Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Hisham, okay, we have ropes, exactly. So what do you use ropes for, by the way? What's the purpose of using ropes? By the way, these are ropes. If the picture is not clear, I apologize, but these are ropes. Yes, we use ropes. Thank you very much, Hisham. Hisham Shahid. He said to tie. Sunil also tie. Yes, we use ropes. Zainab also mentioned, right. So we use ropes to tie things. It's the same thing in training. We have to tie our segments. We have to tie the training segment. So when we move from an activity to an activity or segment to an activity, we have to make sure that we tie them. We have to tie them. So people, they see from the beginning to the end. It's just like a chain. So this is the model. There are many models to how to structure your session. So what do you do? For example, you have one module, 1 hour and a half. What do you do during this 1 hour and a half? What do you do from the beginning to the end of the day? 4 hours, whatever. You need to make sure that you have certain segments and you have to tie these segments. And the model we use for that is called ropes. So it's the same word, ropes. This is one of the models. There are many other models. I even created my own model. And some people who attended with me the one-day training before the Toastmaster, probably they remember Hdbi model. But I'm trying to use something international or global. So you have 5 segments or 5 parts of the training session. First one, they are review and relate. And the main of this one is to get the attention of the people, to get them in the mind, to hook them, to make sure that they think, okay, this is important, this is relevant to my work, I need to listen or I need to pay good attention to this one, this is where I need to be. Then we have the O, we'll come to them one by one. And then after we create the attention of people, start the opening, use the questions, use scenarios, use any kind of questions or maybe activity from the beginning to gain attention of people. Like for example, today we started with what motivates you to be a trainer. This is again, it's something that will gain attention of the people. So this is the first segment or activity we need to do in the training. Then the overview. Overview, it means tell the people about the objectives of the training. What are they going to learn? Stimulate and recall prior knowledge of the topic. So for example, if you are maybe doing a time management, maybe course or a program or a communication, you need to ask the people, okay, how many people attended maybe a training before? How did you find it? What did you learn in that program? What is something? So you need to know about their background. The good thing about this one, you can also give them what do you expect to learn in the session. I use this all the time to make a quick assessment of the people knowledge of the topic. For example, if when we do this in face-to-face, the training, and normally I do it for the Toastmaster 6 hours, one day, we do it. We get some activity. What do you expect to learn? How many people have trained the trainer before? How did you find it? What did you learn from it? As a result of attending, what did you do? So this is the O, learning objectives and prior knowledge. Then we go to the main part of it, of the session, the P, presentation. Present information, material, theories. So this is the main part of the training, is when you start presenting, share, present content, provide learning guidance. And again, since we said, if you remember that, we said the main outcome of the training session is people, they need to have skills. So they have to practice. So once you provide the learning, present it, give people time to exercise and try to get more about their performance. Try to check their performance during, so they have to practice and in the training session or the training room, so when they go back to the work, they know how to do it. And also provide them feedback on how they are practicing. The last thing we do, assess performance and enhance retention and transfer to the job. So the last thing that we do this, and this is the summary. Dale Carnegie, probably you know Dale Carnegie, and you know, this is where I start. Dale Carnegie said in his session, if you do not conduct summary to the people at the end of the session, they should not come to the training. Because in the summary, what we need, it means summary of what people learn, and 3 things in the summary. What did you learn? How are you going to apply it? And what would be the impact of this one? So in this training, I learned this, and I'm going to use it in my next training and this one. And I think the impact will be this. So 3 questions. So normally in the summary, you do not summarize at the training. This is the worst thing. This is the dummiest thing that a trainer can do, is do the summary for the people. People should do the summary. And you just ask them, okay, so today we talk about this topic. So take 3, 4, 5 minutes, for example, whatever time you have, and write what are the most important things that you learned today and how you are going to apply it. What could be the impact? Give them time and then allow people to share their thoughts. And if you have attended the training with me before, you know, I use the post-it notes. So people write in post-it notes, and we have it in the flip chart. So we have all the learning in one poster. Toastmaster Waqas, do we need to stop for any questions or shall we continue? Okay, I will continue. So please let me know if we need to.
Yes, please continue, sir.
Okay, good. Let's go. So just a quick about this one. So gain attention. It means that in the ropes. So review and relate, stimulate, recall, ask people questions about their background, and ask them about how to link it to their content. Okay. And of course, in the overview, the main thing is the objective. Present the information, give examples, brainstorming, techniques, everything. Then exercise. So participants apply the learning, they practice new skills, and they give and receive feedback. And the last thing, as we said, is the summary, discuss how new skills will be adopted. So what did you learn? How are you going to apply it? And for the individual to use in their workplace. So this is the model. You can read more about ropes. It is a well-known model. It's only 5. Another model is Garnier model. Garnier is also a French scientist, also came with, and he said the 9 events of instruction. So this is another model, 9 rather than 5. Hdbi, my model, only 4 has, Hdbi has only 4 stages. So it's exactly the same thing. And Hdbi is generate its interest, knowledge, practice, and skill. That's why I call it Hdbi, IKPS, and trying to use the local culture. Okay. Good. So now we come to the facilitation. What is facilitation? And what is the difference between facilitation and training? Are they the same? Facilitation is a skill. So if you go to any model, a good model of competencies for good trainers, you will find facilitation skill as one of the skills that you need to develop. And facilitation, it's mean that making things easy. So facilitation is a process where you guide people through discussion, through interaction, to assist and plan their performance, to understand more about it. The reason that why many trainers or some trainers do not use facilitation, so they would try to keep it, is because they might go off the track. When everybody starts talking, asking questions, participating, giving example, they are afraid that they might go off the track. Let's talk about let's break down facilitation. When we say facilitation, it's a skill, but this skill has many sub-skills. So when we say facilitation, what does that mean? First one, you need to make sure energy at all times as a facilitator. And if you have attended the training with me or maybe with any other trainers, you find we do not. I mean, this is a lecture, so I'm sitting. But if I'm doing this in actual training, in a classroom, I will never sit during the session, whether it's 1 hour or maybe 5 days, just to maintain the energy at all times. Why energy important? 3 E's. First, it energizes the topic. It shows that the topic is very important. When you see the trainer energized, passionate, it means the important rather than maybe just someone talking about the topic and very cool guy, very some. And might people say, maybe the topic is not important. Maybe the person is not confident in the topic. So it energizes the topic. It shows the topic is important, it's relevant, it's critical for your success. Energy also engages participant. So people, they want to be energized. Energized. When they see the trainer is energy. I remember the trainer, the master trainer who's my trainer, actually, the person where I learned training from in 2007, he was 65 age at that time, very old guy. But he has the energy. And I remember the training, it was 12 days, full time, all activities. And we asked him, Daryl, where do you get this energy from? He said, I get it from you guys. And we also get the energy from him because he was energized. So it's also engage the people. They want people to be engaged because this one. The third A is elevates the facilitator. It means that facilitator is confident, knowledgeable, expert in the topic. So when people see the facilitator is energized, they know that person is confident. He is the expert in the topic. He's not weak. So that's why energy is important. I put energy the first one because it is the most important skill for facilitator. Use the sense of pacing and timing. So we need to time our session. When we say pacing, it means do not make it too slow that the people get bored, that you lose energy. And do not make it too fast that the people maybe they do not get some of the main point. So make sure that you have enough time. If you want people to do an activity, or you give them 2 minutes, make sure that 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but do not give them 20 minutes for something that they can do in 2 minutes. Summarize, and we talk about the summary. Also, you need to be, you need to have knowledge about the participant background and the business context. If you are going to do a training for the people, you need to understand what they do, what kind of industry they do, what kind of a training so they will do. And that's why we said we need to make sure it has to be relevancy oriented. Questions, and I cannot clarify enough. Questions, always important tools for trainer, for coaches, and for the madam who ask, how do I learn from this one to my children? I think the power of questions for coaching, for training, for dealing with your kids, for dealing with everybody. Always ask questions rather than giving information. Engage all participants. If you have 25% participants in a class, make sure they are all engaged. They are all have equal opportunity to participate. Move them around. For example, in my training, normally I change groups like 4 to 5 people sitting at a table. I change 3 to 4 times every day. So people will have, by the end of the day, they will have a chance to meet with everybody, to work with different people, to sit at different places in this one. Active listenings, we talk about it. Clear learning objectives. And that's why we talk about learning, because also there is alarm. When we talk about learning objectives, we are not talking about the contents. Oh, today we'll talk about this. No, it has to be written in a certain way that shows it is a learning objective. It can be measured. It can be assessed. Grouping, always use groups, small groups, large groups. Normally, a good group in training, if you have training 25 to maybe 20 to 25, 30 people maximum, you should have a group of 4 to 5. Do not have bigger groups. So 4 to 5 people in each group, this is a good number. Or pairs, 2 people working maybe in an activity like a role play, or maybe triads. For example, if you're doing coaching, so you want coachee, maybe observer, so some people, if you want maybe client, customer, and maybe observer, so 3 people to this one. Manage dysfunctional behavior, disruptive behavior that you might see in the class, and hopefully will come to. So design a customized process and carry through. Make sure that you have a process. That's what we said. If you are using ropes, this is a good session. Even in the ropes, you need to link it to the timing. So the first segment, maybe 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then maybe 30 minutes, then 5 minutes to this one. So at least you link it with a time. Okay, we talk about the questions. We use open-ended questions, open and question that will allow people to talk, to share ideas using the WH questions. Questions that allow people to think. If this is important, why many people we have not done it? Why you are doing what you're doing? Coaching question, tell me more, tell me more. What else? Give me a question. Give me, if someone, for example, says something, can you clarify? Give me an example of that. Survey questions, just to check the reality. For example, if you have 20 people, you can ask just by raising hand, how many people attend the trainer before, for example. So at least you know how many people attended. Problem questions, just 9 more, and questions to avoid. Make sure that you avoid close-ended questions when you need information. So do not ask yes or no questions when you want people. For example, do not, for example, explain a process to the people and then say, so did you find this helpful? Some people might say no, and this is a killing question. So make sure that you avoid questions, yes, no question, close-ended question. Always use open-ended question. And I think this is one of the main skills that trainers or successful or good trainers or facilitators have. They know how to ask good questions. Okay, dealing with disruptive behaviors. And some of these behaviors, they may not be disruptive, but I just with all the behaviors that you might see in the class. So in a session, normally, you will have maybe troublemaker, aggressor. So these people, they come not to learn, especially in corporate training. Not in the public, you may not find this, but in corporate, you find people who attend the training just because they were forced to attend. Just because their manager asked them that you need to attend the training. So they just come to make trouble. You also have enthusiastic people who wants to talk all the time. This is good. These are good people. The only issue that they do not give opportunity to others to participate. You also have key learners, and these are your stars. Key learners are the stars. They want to learn, they want to have fun, which is good. And also they want to meet new colleagues and also have build relationship with others. So these are the stars of them. You have holiday makers, and holiday makers, again, you'll find them in corporate training. You find holiday makers. So for them, it's good to go to training. So go away from the job and no customers, no managers, nothing. Just go enjoy, especially if the training is being conducted in a 5-star hotel. Good food, good coffee, and just relax. Maybe it's leave even less working hours. So for them, training is a holiday. And you will have these people. Also, you have hostages. Hostages, these are the people they were forced to be in the training. They are not troublemakers, so they will not make trouble, but they are very quiet. They were very quiet. They are pushed to do things. You have good, also shy, passive people. So these are very polite, but they are very shy. They do not participate. Quiet all the time. So these people, you might maybe, you want to help them also increase their self-confidence. You want to give them a chance maybe to participate. You want to ask them some questions because you need to help them. And of course, the last you will have the resistors or blockers. So these are the people who interfere with the process. So whenever you told them something else, no, this is not true. This is not relevant to us. This does not work. We are the, again, you will find this again on the corporate training. So they interfere. And I think one of the main reasons they interfere is because the trainer was not ready. The trainer did not understand their work environment. The trainer did not bring examples that are relevant to their work. That's why they say it does not work. So whenever you see some kind of this disruptive behavior, the first thing that you need to consciously prevent this from the beginning. So you need to anticipate, and from the beginning, try to build rapport, try to understand more about them. So at least you are preventing this behavior from coming on board. Early detection, if you see some kind of behavior, you need from the beginning to talk with the participant about it. Detect it. And clean resolution. It means that if this behavior, especially if someone is maybe rude, or maybe someone is impolite, or someone is trying to just make jokes all the time, or someone maybe is not paying good attention. So first, you need to detect it, we say. So if, for example, let's say you notice someone is making jokes just to make people laugh. And people laugh, and so this person is maybe a troublemaker, maybe a blocker, maybe hostage. So the first time you see a behavior, disruptive behavior, do not react. Just look at the person saying that, I notice it, but I will not say anything as a trainer. Second time, if the person does it for the second time, maybe in the break, you need to talk to the person and say, by the way, I noticed you're trying to do, you're not very serious about this one. The other people are here because they want to learn. So I expect you to be serious. If the person continues for the third time in the break, tell them, please go back to your work. Do not come back. I cannot sacrifice my whole class for the sake of one person. Especially if you're doing this in corporate, in public. If people are paying for the training, they will not do this. But if people are paid by their corporates, by their companies, you might have some kind of this. Okay, so the question, what determines people behavior style? What are the elements? What are maybe the circumstances that will determine how people behave in a certain class, in a certain training, whether good or bad? We're not saying, but we're talking in general, the behaviors of the people, because some people are quiet, some people are very active, some people, so what determines people behavior in the class? And I need responses. So please, what determines people behavior style? We're not talking about disruptive behavior, we're talking about behavior in general. What are the elements? What are the factors that will impact people behavior? Okay, education level. Thank you, Alligator. Atmosphere of learning. Yes, thank you, Manaz. Okay. Lengthy lecture. Yes, Muhammad Sajjad. Lengthy lectures. Yes, people get bored. Professional background. Alligator. Haneen, objectives. Curious. Motivation. Background. Out of way working. Interest in the topic, one way of the talking, okay. Social life, yes, Khalid. Interest, talkative, some people are talkative. Great. Upbringing, yes, I think that's one. Their mindset, the relevancy, if it's relevant or irrelevant, systematic and orderly teaching style, Manaz, again. Peer pressure. Renton, yes, that's good. Long hours of concentration at the same topic, yes. Thank you very much. Great. Just to capture everything that you mentioned, I just put it in one slide, so you will see it. So these are the elements, these are the factors, the age. So normally people are, if they are young, they are very active. They are very active, their attention span is very short. People are old, they are slow. For example, in this one, they want to be relaxed. They want a quiet. Gender also, male and female. Of course, they also have different, that will also impact or affect their way of behaving in a certain position, seniority. So if for example, if you have, for example, and especially in corporate, and you have some people who are very senior in the training, very senior in their position. For example, you have a general manager in the class. At the same time, you have maybe specialists or analysts in this one. So they will behave differently. So normally people who have seniority in their companies, they want to have attention. They want to speak more. They want people to relate their experience, as opposed to someone who's maybe just someone who's maybe at the beginning of his career. Organization culture. And mainly talking about, so what culture in this organization? Do they look at the training as a kind of maybe leisure for the people, incentive for the people? So it is a common in this company, for example, organization, that people are sent to training, just a kind of compensation. Okay, this guy, he's good, so I'll send him the training. So what will happen? It means these people, when they go to the training, they do not want to spend long hours in the training. And they said, we come to the training, but it's entertainment. It's a leisure. It's a kind of a compensation of our work. Society culture. And I will show you something very interesting about different society and how they look for this one. For example, how, and especially for me, because I have did training in many society, I've seen the differences. The program design, yes, someone who said lengthy session or lecturing. So that also will affect and impact the people, how they behave, if the design of the program is not good. lecturing for 2 hours, session long hour, 2 hours, no interaction, people get full. Individuals' preferences, and I'll give you some of this one. So, and if you understand more about the personality type and individual preferences like MBTI or DISC or Thomas or this thing, that also people, because they are different, they have different personalities, personality type, they might learn or behave different in a classroom. Also learning style, how people learn, and thinking style. So for this, you know, I will show you maybe 3 main tools or batteries that's used to understand about how people think, thinking style, how people learn, and their individual preferences. The trainer style. Is a trainer relaxed, friendly, or maybe arrogant, or rude, aggressive, or maybe he's a passive? So people take advantage of that. So these are the main elements or factors that will constitute how people behave in the training. I talk about learning styles. So normally this is the VAC. VAC is, they say people, the way they learn or their preference learn, either they are visual, so they learn better when they see things. So these are visual. Some people are auditory. Auditories mean they learn better by hearing things, listening to discussion. And the third type, these are the kinesthetic. They learn better by activities, exercises. So definitely, when you have a class, you will have some people who are visual, you have people auditory, you have people who are kinesthetic. As a trainer, do I need to understand the learning style of each person in the class? Do I need to understand the learning style? Yes or no? I have 20 people, 25. Do I need to understand their learning style? Okay, Muhammad, I think almost everybody is saying yes. It's very hard. I cannot understand. And I do not need to understand their comment. I have 20 people, I have 30 people in a class. Do I need to understand their learning style? No, I do not. But what I should do, I have to design my training session that will accommodate the 3 slides, because I know in my class, I have visual, I have auditory, and I also have kinesthetic. So I have to use different learning styles. Kinesthetic, for example, they want to have activities. Activities, they need to write, they need to draw, they need to do this one, they need to move. Auditory, they need to hear things. They enjoy the discussion. When people, different people are talking about this now. So they enjoy the interaction. Visual learners, they want to see video, they want to see pictures, they want to see different colors. So I have to use a flexible training session using different styles. So in this case, all the 3 styles will be accommodated in this one. Flexibility necessary. Thank you very much, Algate. Yes. That's why we say good trainer, they need to use different training styles. If we use lecturing will be good for the auditory lecturing, because normally they even close their eyes and just listen. They enjoy listening to the trainers. Kinesthetic, they get bored. They get bored. They want to move. They go back to check their mobile. They go to take coffee. They stand. They move something. They cannot. They want to do something. They start drawing. They start writing something. Visual learners also, they want to see things. So we have to make sure that we use different styles. And this is part of the design of the program, to make sure that we accommodate all the 3. So I do not need to understand all the 3 different styles, but I need to design my program and conduct my program, deliver it in a way that will accommodate all the 3 styles. Yeah, short lecture, say, I don't know, if short lecture, no. Yeah, yes, You're talking about even the auditory, yes, auditory actually, they enjoy the lecturing, but again, if you put a lecture, it's again, they lose even for them, actually, they get bored. So even the lecturing, it has to be short. So this is we call it the VAK, V-A-K, and VAK is well known. It's a theory. Let's talk about the learning. People have different learning styles. They prefer to learn in different ways. If you check it in Google, you will find it. You will find even an assessment. There's assessment 20 questions. 20 questions. So when you do the 20 questions, it will tell you what's the percentage of your kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. Okay. Another tool we can also use in the training is the thinking style. And this is what they call Herman brain dominance instrument. So this is also one of the tools that we need to understand as a trainers. The way people think is because they have different thinking style. So analytical, for example, they ask too many questions. They want to see number, they want to see logic, so for them, they are detail oriented. Practical, for them, these are like kinesthetic. But they also want something that's very practical, that can be applied immediately. Relational, which is the C. The C, they want to have a good discussion. They want to build rapport with the people. They want to have also a chance to build good relationship with the people. Experimental, and sometimes they call it the visionary people. So these people, they want to see the big picture before they see the details. And again, do we need to understand who is analytical, experimental, practical, or rational? No. But we have to make sure that we use different training styles that will accommodate all the 4 types of thinking. The last one in the tools is the individual preferences, the MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And again, this is also one of the most well-known and popular personality type assessment or survey. And again, it will tell you a lot why some people are very quiet in the training, why some people are very active in the training, why some people, they ask many questions, why some people, they want to know the structure from day one, while other people know they want to be flexible. So again, MBTI is one of the tools that will help the trainers. The main, we do not need to go deeper, but I think it's good for the trainer to understand, because when we do not understand the certain behaviors of people and personality, we might say this person is a troublemaker because he or she asks too many questions. No. The reason he or she asks is because the person is analytical, is because the person is maybe part type of the MBTI. That these are the people, they want to see structure. They want to see everything before. For example, and I remember in one of the training, I asked the people to do an activity and someone said, Saud, can we understand what is the main purpose of this one? I knew immediately this person is a visually experimental. So they have to see the big picture before they do anything. So that's why it's important for us to understand about this one. Last one of this one, and this is very interesting. Global Smart Profile. This is talking about the society differences. So here we're talking about the society differences. And I took certain elements. This is one I developed. And because normally I do training in China, in India, Netherlands, and the States. So I want to understand the cultural differences in this society. And this one, so for example, you see the SN at the beginning, this is me, Saud Nasser. So I did the assessment. So I put my assessment, then it will show you how my assessment is linked or aligned with the others. So independence, interdependence, egalitarianism, or the status. And for example, you see, for example, in India and China, the status is important. So for them, if you have someone who is senior in the training, people will highly respect this person. The status, for example, where you see people, they will never call their managers by the first name. And even in the training, if, for example, if you see some employees and their manager is there, they will always be polite, not polite, but they will always, wants this person to speak maybe first or more, or they want to give the person a status. If you go to the West, you go, for example, to Netherlands or the States, they do not about this one. They will never, for example, call their managers by the first name. And for example, in India and China, I did this one. They call me Mr. Saud. Mr. Saud. If you go to the States or Netherlands, they will call me Saud. So it's not being polite, but this is their cultural status. If we talk, for example, about their communication, direct or indirect. And I noticed when I did my first session in China, and when I ask people questions, or I expect them to interact, they are very polite, very quiet. And I thought maybe they did not understand, they did not get the point. That's why they're not. Later on, I understand because people are very indirect in their communication. So if they have some questions, they look at you, maybe I'm interrupting the session when they ask questions. But they will ask questions, for example, in the break. While people, for example, in the West, maybe in Netherlands, in the States, and maybe other parts of Europe, they are very direct. If they have something, they will say it from the beginning. If they did not understand something or did not like it, they will say it. And it's not being polite or polite. This is the cultural differences. And probably you can see in Saudi Arabia, we are maybe close to India and China. So we are the part of this one. The further you go in the West, the more people become direct, they become task-oriented, they're willing to take the risk. So this is one of the things that I find it very interesting to understand more about the people in the training. So if you have someone who is very senior in the class, expect the other people maybe to show high respect to this person if you are doing it in India, China, maybe Saudi Arabia. If you go to the West, if the person and maybe his manager or manager of his manager in the same class, they just talk like friends. And it's not they're being, so polite or someone polite, but this is their cultural differences. And the last thing, when we do a training, we also need to evaluate the training. So these are the 4+5 levels of evaluating training. So first, when we do evaluate the training, we evaluate the training satisfaction. We call it reaction. So this is the normal at the end of the training. People are giving maybe one sheet and they need to evaluate the trainer, the session, the food, everything. We call it reaction. Then the second level, so we go from satisfaction to learning. Learning is that when the trainer does some kind of assessment or quiz to check the people learning. After the training, when they go back to their workplace, then there should be some kind of assessment of the impact. So do people behave as a result, which is the application? Do they apply it in work or not? So they learn something, skills. When they go back to work, are they applying their learning or not? So normally this is with the feedback from the direct manager. And again, is this their application? They're applying it. As their results, is the business getting some results? We call the result. So result is that measurable impact on performance. Improving the performance, improving for example, the customer satisfaction rate, anything. And the last one is the ROI, return on investment. So is the organization getting more money as a result of the people attending the training? So if the company is investing 100,000 for training, how much are they getting after the training? So people become more productive. They become, for example, more active. So especially, for example, in sales. So now they sell more. So the difference we call it return on investment. And these are the way. By the way, the last thing that we need to do before we move to, if we have any questions, or if we have time for the quiz, is that someone might ask, how do I start my journey? I want to be a trainer. I like a training. I attended with Saud, And I really like the training. The good thing that if you are a Toastmaster, if you have been a Toastmaster for many years, maybe, or at least you learn your, so you are a good communicator. So at least now you have maybe a great factor for success as a trainer. Because trainers, they need to be good speakers, good communicators. This is what we learn in the Toastmaster. So if you are part of the Toastmaster community now, you have a great privilege to be a successful trainer. So how to start the journey? The first one, you need to select your topic. So if you see your topic in the gray, select an area of expertise. Or you can do something in the soft skills where anybody can do it, like time management or maybe communication skills, anybody. But if you are a subject matter expert, we call it SMEs, in a certain area, then you have a great privilege to be a successful trainer. So select your area. What exactly you want to train on? Develop your materials. Get resources. Develop it. Look at models. Start small. And I would say, start in the Toastmaster. We have a great opportunity at Toastmaster because it's part of our requirements, as part of our education program in the Toastmaster. We need to start conducting workshops. So start small, start in the Toastmaster. Be active whenever you are giving a chance or opportunity to attend or maybe to deliver something, do it. Get connected. Now you want to increase your network. So we are doing it at Toastmaster. You've been very successful, but now you want to do it commercially. So maybe get someone to connect you to a training, for example, center or an institution or to a company. And you say, I have this material, I have this one, I can train it. I want to get connected. I want to do this for business. Attend TOT, training of trainer. Like, this is not a train the trainer, so please do not consider this. But I'm talking about a complete program where you practice, coach, feedback, everything. So try to attend train the trainer session. And the last thing, just to gain credibility, especially at the beginning, get certified, get some kind of accreditation in the Toastmaster. So get accredited. There are many global organizations, also in Saudi Arabia, TVTC, which is the vocational training. They have training license, or get it global. If you want to get some, if your English is good, or maybe you're part of this one, get something maybe global, but get certified. When you become certified, you get the credibility. This is our last segment for today, and I hope we are managing the time. So if we have any questions, if no questions, maybe we can go to the quiz if we have time. DTM Maqas?
Yes, sir. We have many questions, and we were waiting for you to summarize. Let me start asking the questions.
Yes, sir.
Can I, sir?
Please.
Okay. The first question is from Toastmaster Manaz Al Bukhari. The question is, what is a good certification you would recommend or would like to see in your trainer?
Sorry, what a good certification?
You would like to see in your trainer. What is a good certification you recommend or would like to see in the trainers?
Okay, I think the good certification is when people get a global certification. So it's not, because there are certain organizations, they will get certification for you just by applying and paying money. This is not a certification. But you need to make sure that you are doing a training, so they have good criteria for the trainer certification. I think this is what's good. One of them is the Hdbi Association for Talent Development. It's a global, it's a well-known organization. It's probably the biggest organization in talent development and also in training and development. So I highly recommend people, if they want to be a trainer, go to the ATD. I can even put it in the ATD, Association for Talent Development. Their website, this is their website. And the certification is APED. This is, so check this one. If you need more, just call me or connect me or send me an email or something. I can provide you more information about this.
Yes, sir. The next question is from Mr. Marwan Mr. Marwan Ahmed. And the question is, how do I identify a participant who does not understand and he or she does not ask for this? During the training, how to identify a participant who is not understanding nor asking.
Okay, I think that's a very good question. I like it. Engage with all participants. Engage. Example, when you do the summary. So what did you understand from the topic? What did you learn from the topic? Make sure everyone participates. Everyone participates. And if you see someone maybe struggling, talk to the person. Talk to the person. The other thing that if you wait until the end, it might be too late. So from the beginning, for example, when you ask a questions and you, for example, you have Saud. Saud is a very active and he wants to talk all the time. So you say, okay, let's hear from the other people. So what do you think? And maybe give a chance to other people to. So if you see someone very maybe passive, very shy, very quiet, then maybe you want to say, okay, let's hear from this. What do you think? Just make sure you give them time to think, not putting people on the spot. But engage everybody to make sure that when you do activity, make sure everybody participates. So that
Excellent.
will understand.
Yes, sir. Deacon, so the next question is from Mr. Seju Davis, and the question is, what is the best HDBI range score for a good facilitator? What is the best HDBI range / score for a good facilitator?
Okay, that's very hard because in this one, so we're talking about it's content about the Herman HBDI for a good facilitator. You know, the main thing that this is like not a skill. This is the thinking style. So we all, I mean, we have been created with one of these dominance of one of these styles. But a good trainer is the one person who understands all the 4 quadrants of the HBDI. So even if the person is, for example, analytical, detail-oriented, logic, numbers, anything, you need to make sure that as a trainer, also you need to be aware to be also visionary, to be maybe experimental. So before you get into the process, immediately try to show the people the big picture. It's maybe because, so the good thing that you need to create awareness around all the 4. You definitely will be one. So it's hard to say this is the best for the trainer, but I would say as a trainer, you need to have self-awareness and understand the 4. So do not fall in the trap of only being yourself. It's only acting and delivering based on your thinking style. But that's a question.
Yes, sir. The next question is from Sayyid Ali Faraz. He says that I'm a software engineer. I want to become a trainer. How should I kickstart?
It's great. You have a great skill. So in terms of knowledge, at least you have area of expertise. So you are an expert in your field, software engineer. This is great. This is a good beginning because you need to have a knowledge in certain area. You need to have expertise in certain area. The way to start, I think, is that you need to develop your training skills and start doing small session. Maybe at your work, maybe in the Toastmaster community, if you are part of the community, maybe at your colleagues, and you start, just maybe take your material and try to put it in a way that will help people to understand it. Put it in like in a training style. And start doing it with your friends, with your club, if you are part of the Toastmaster, with your maybe company, if you are part of an organization. But start small. Do something short, maybe 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. Then after that, develop training skills, because you need to move from presenting material to facilitating it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. One question from Manaz Al-Bukhari. You are blessed with an aura which makes you deliver great trainings. Are there any personal tips for aspiring trainers like me? You are blessed with an aura which makes you deliver great training. Are there any personal tips for aspiring trainers like me? From Manaz Al-Bukhari.
I think, what one of the reasons that many people, they have a great opportunity and they have, so they have a strong potential to be trainer. They just hesitate. They want to be perfect. They want to be professional before they start. So my tips on this one is just read more, start small, select your area, start doing your session, and again, I cannot even clarify this more. If you are part of the Toastmaster community, you are very lucky, very lucky, very lucky, very fortunate if you are part of this one, because in the Toastmaster, very supportive community, everybody there to learn and support and motivate. So you can also do this one. So you will have also, if you tell your club, I want to do a session, they will be very supportive to you, or maybe your area, or maybe your division. So I would say to anybody, just to start, find maybe someone, a model that you want to follow. And if you want to start a training as a career, I think it's better you have a coach or you have a mentor. So someone that someone you highly respect, someone who has been there. So someone who is doing it for business. So at least when you do it for the business, you have to be good, because people will not pay you to do training unless you are good. Yes, sir.
Great. And sir, this is the last question. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last question. We promise you that those questions who we were unable to answer because of the shortage of time, we will answer you by email. The last question is from anonymous attendee. And the question is, as a trainer, how can I catch full attention of audience and make it interesting? What tools are required to be a good trainer? Last question for today.
Build your training material to make sure it is engaging from the first minute. If you do not hook the participant from the beginning, you lose them. Make sure that you use all the resources you have in the training, mainly the participants. So make it engaging to the people. Make sure that they do the job. And for example, in my training, and a good, for example, assessment when we do training is that we say, if you want to be a successful training, you should not speak more than 20 to 30% of the time of the class. 70, 80%, make the people participate. They have to do something. They have to practice. They have to discuss. They have to do things. So make sure that you engage the people all the time. Do not lose them. Use stories. Understand more about their job. So at least we create relevancy to them. Use them as the resources. If you have some people who are very knowledgeable, try to use them also. So for example, you could say, okay, so you say, tell us about this, more about this one. You understand about this one, and you are from the same company, so tell us about this one. So use all the resources you have. And that's why I always ask the people who needs communication skills more. Is it the lecturer, presenter, speaker, or trainer? Many people say trainer. No, I think trainers, they need less because they have to speak less. If it's, because presenter or speaker, they have to speak 100% of the time. Trainers, they will speak 20 to 30% of the time. So it means that they do not spend a lot of time communicating, because at the time people would maybe discussing, other people participating, they're doing an activity. So this is my tips. Yes, make sure that you engage people from the first minute. Otherwise, you lose them.
Thank you so much, DTM Saud Alomair, Abu Faisal, and with the time we are actually running short of time. I'd like to sincerely thank you, and without wasting any time, I'd like to call the lady behind this show, working so hard day and night, contacting people, following up, and arranging, making sure everything goes wonderfully. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome a wonderful lady, a great teacher, a wonderful inspiration, DTM Sunila Chaku. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.